guys, we're back again with another episode. I got Donnie over here to my right.
Hey, what's going on?
Caesar, and then we got a special guest, Jaameah. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Hello.
How's everything? How's life been?
It's been great.
Yeah.
A lot of growth, a lot of changes, a lot of pushing forward on the purpose path. It's been really great. I've
Nice.
really enjoyed it
Awesome.
these last couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And how's the family? How's kids? I know the last time I saw Trey, he was just a little,
Yeah.
a little guy.
Yeah. Trey's 9 now, and Reni's 4. They are both growing like weeds. Starting school here soon in like the next 2 weeks, and
awesome.
yeah, it's been really nice. A lot of family time. My folks are doing great.
That's
Still
good.
in Forest Grove, working on their retirement and just taking it to the next level. I think they're
Awesome.
finally thinking about taking that next leap and retiring, moving to Texas, and just
really?
living, just
Oh,
a better
wow,
life.
Cool.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
thinking about going to Texas and like living close to your, because I know your sister's over there, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. My sister does live in Houston. I don't know about, I don't know really where they want to stay. I know there's a lot of great places. I'm sure it will be Houston because Obima is very convincing. She's been convincing us the last 7 years. And I think that they are, again, ready to take that next leap of faith somewhere else. We've lived in Oregon for, like 25 years, maybe longer.
Right.
So I think it's just ready for that change in environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, some southern hospitality and stuff.
Right.
So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. What are you guys thinking at all to moving out of state? Maybe at one point, you and your husband, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
That
yes.
is awesome.
My husband Philip really wants to. he, since we've met, actually, he's been wanting to leave out of state. I think I've wanted to leave out of state since I was out of high school. I don't think.
Like I'm ready.
I
to
think
get out.
I think I've been a big fish in a small pond for a long time. I've never really stepped out of Oregon. This has always been my home. This is always what we come back to. I've traveled to a few places, but I've never seen the world like my younger sister. You know, she really travels. You guys know Akua. She's really a traveler. And so I sort of feed off of her experience of what life and the world could be. And so I think for a while I've always wanted to take that leap of faith. But it took me getting into the mindset of, one, being debt-free. That's me and Philip's biggest goal, is getting debt-free. I think that when you owe someone money, you're always a slave to it. It doesn't matter how far you try to run away, they're always going to find you.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
sounds really scary, but that is slavery for you, right? If we, if we really think about it. And so, that's always been the goal. We're set up to be debt free by the end of this year.
Nice.
So we are really happy. Yeah, it's been 4 years.
That's
paying
awesome.
off debt. I think it was like $95,000
Oh, wow.
in total. So
Yeah.
and some of that was accumulated over the last 2 years. So it's just one of those things where not only paying off the debt, but having, some Dave Ramsey knowledge of just saving money, putting it away so that when those scares do come up, like medical bills, that was a huge one for us. I think we had $5,000 to $6,000 in medical bills between me and Philip both. And it was like you were in the hospital for like an hour, and they're like, here is $3,000 worth of stuff.
That's
and you're
exactly how it is. I
Yeah.
mean, especially when you don't have proper, medical insurance or anything. It's just, I feel like they're the real thieves, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you go there for a couple minutes in the emergency room, and then especially if you get a trip there inside the ambulance, it's just literally, oh, okay, let me check this, let me check your pulse, let me check that, put this on you, here's a pill. We're not really too sure what's wrong with you, but
exactly. Yes.
maybe you can come back and then see a different specialist. Well, here's your bill, $4,000, $3,000.
Yeah.
It's like, dang.
And you don't
That's
even know what
crazy.
pill
It's like,
they just gave you.
right,
You're
and it's
like,
like,
and
oh
I'm
my
dying.
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm also dying in a couple
Yeah,
hours
man,
because I have no idea what that pill was.
It sucks. Yeah, the medical industry has become, I believe they're there because when you need help, your leg is all broken or you need stitches. Yeah, of course, it's somewhere to go, but it's unfortunate that they have to literally steal from you when they don't need, to be paid that much. Cures and being helped shouldn't cost so much. It shouldn't be that way, because I've heard that a lot of equipment that they get, a lot of medicines that they get it at like pennies.
Yeah.
And then they can
And they
just
sell it for like the higher dollar.
yeah, they could put their own
Yeah.
price on it and up the price on it 10,000 times. And like it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Especially when people will actually need help out there and need cures, and unfortunately, they haven't taught that. In schools they don't teach that there's actual cures out there that we can do ourselves and look for natural remedies and natural ways of getting help and improving our health.
Yeah. I think the best cure for any sickness is as you say, is a natural cure.
Right.
My dad has always taught us, heal thyself, healthy,
Right.
Heal thyself.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is what you put into your body.
Absolutely.
We all have these terrible American diets where we're eating fast food. We're in a culture, in a society where it's like go fast, be fast, and do things fast. And it doesn't matter what that is. It doesn't matter if it's food or the way you make money or the way you connect with others. As long
It's
as
like
it's
that instant gratification type of
Yeah,
thing.
that's what it is.
Yes.
And that's what
Yes.
the drive-through window is.
Yeah.
Instant gratification in a way.
Yeah.
Because you get it quick. We eat that food, but all that food is processed. And with me, that's kind of hard too, because I do like fast food. But lately, I've been like taking baby steps to eat more healthier.
You like
And
the cheeseburgers.
Yeah, those cheeseburgers are bomb.
go to
I'm not gonna
Carl's
lie.
Jr.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I've been eating McDonald's cheeseburgers and a
my
small
God.
fry,
Oh,
and it
man.
doesn't help because I'm like, just because it's small doesn't mean that it doesn't make the same impact. Like,
Right.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, well, if it's smaller, it's like, no,
It's just
you're
it's
still
just one
eating.
time. It's just
Right.
just
Oh, it
during
has
the
not been
week.
one time.
Right.
It's been twice a week.
That's
You see the statement. Like, go ahead. Like, I'm telling you, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Because it does. You can tell. My dad would always say you can tell by the stress of a person or what they eat by their skin and their hair and their fingernails and their teeth and their teeth right off the bat. That's why it's so funny, because people want to smile in your face and you're just like, ooh, I already see that you're stressed because you have, you're breaking out. I already see that you're stressed because your hair's falling out. I can already see that you're stressed. And it's actually funny because a lot of thicker people, they actually have the best skin and hair and things like that. But it always will depend. If you put bad in, you are still, we're a machine. The gears that you are oiling up, the gears that you're building up, that's going to break if you put the wrong oil into it.
That's true.
And
I like
so-
that. Yeah.
A lot of people, they want to say like, oh, well, look, I have glowing skin. I have hair, my hair is to my butt, things like that. It's like, yes, but if we were to look in you, would your gears be working properly?
Right.
Because a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they're covered by certain things that's not healthy for us. And being super skinny isn't, a fad that needs to be I don't want to say motivated, but
Like pushed.
something that's pushed, something that's admirable to our society.
Right.
We need people who are healthy, that are eating well, not eating a lot of sugars. Sugar and processed food is so bad for us.
It is.
And we're so okay with just like, oh, well, I had several meetings, so I needed to have something quick and easy.
Right.
It's like, but is it worth your life? A lot of people are striving for, this fruitful prosperity and things like that, but it's like, do you have a holistic fruitful prosperity,
Right.
or do you have just pieces of it?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's like
true.
we have to look at those things, because I've never wanted to be what I always find to be fruitful was I always wanted to be healthy.
Yeah.
I've always valued that. I value my faith. I value my family a lot. I value my health, because I've seen it, especially through my family line. I've seen several of my family become prosperous and just die. You just die because you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And you can't control your prosperity. You can tell by this year alone with COVID and just the way our economy, people are losing their jobs. You can't control that stuff. There are some things you can control.
Right.
We all are what is it? A captain to our destiny.
Oh, we're
Forgot what it said.
right,
but
right.
we
Yeah, the
all
master of my. I'm the captain of my soul and the master of my destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all are that. We have
Right.
the control, but the thing of it is there are some things that are completely out of our control.
Yeah.
But people who say that the way they eat and things, you can't say that that's not in your control. You
Yeah,
are the
right,
one
exactly.
literally putting the food to your mouth.
Yeah.
Right, and that was what I was gonna say is that we do have control. We have self-control. You know what I'm saying? We
Yes,
can,
Yeah.
do.
you know, we can control what we think, what we eat, what we,
That's true.
you know, what we put out, you know, the energy that we produce, you know, which
That's
is
true.
negative, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah.
You know, we control that. We control our being, you know. So,
Right.
yeah, unfortunately, like outside things we can't control at times, you know, like, you know, what goes on in our society, you know, certain laws that are passed or certain things that are going on. But what we can control is within us, you know.
It's true. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it I know it's like we're just talking about it. Sometimes it's we just want it, oh, quick. We've been so used to it, you know, it's so quick. I need it now. But we could take the time. We can literally take a couple, 30, 20 minutes of our time to think about, okay, what do I need to do so I can have a healthier lifestyle? Whether it's changing the way you think or the way you eat, that's possible. You know what I'm saying? And it just takes a few minutes or half an hour, 1 hour out of your day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's nothing. You know, that's nothing. We spend hours doing mundane things that are not even
That's true.
progressive to our growth in any kind of way. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, it's hard out there. I know it's hard because, you know, it's pushed on us. You know, fast food, or you go to any grocery store. What do you see? Processed foods. You see the ingredients box. You see a bunch of ingredients that you don't even know. You can't even pronounce.
Yeah. For
You
real.
know, and then so what are you really putting in your body? You know,
Right.
a bunch of mystery ingredients that don't even benefit you. You know, don't.
Right.
And so yeah, it cuts our lifespan, of course. You know, and so I saw this great documentary a long time ago. It was called The Beautiful Truth. And that, man, it just speaks about how there is natural cures, natural remedies for so many things. This the person that they were talking about was his doctor from Germany that came over here with his family during the Holocaust, and he had cured a bunch of people that had young kids that had terminal illnesses. You know, the doctor said you only got this much to live, blah blah blah, and that's really it. And then he would set them on a certain, you know, diagnose them, set them on a certain regimen, and they would have to follow it, you know, strictly every day, you know, blah blah blah. But it was natural, whether it was fruits, veggies, certain herbs, whatever it was, and then followed it, and then they would get, you know, they were cured. They wouldn't die at the times that the doctors told them that they were going to die. And then he tried to establish something here in the United States when they came over here. But of course, the medical association and, you know,
Big
they told them,
pharma.
they're like, oh, no, you're crazy. How are you going to heal anybody with like just veggies and fruits and natural diet? No, that's, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Of course, like, you know, it's big pharmaceutical companies. And then you find out that the unfortunate and the sad thing about it is that there's chemicals and pharmaceutical companies that run the FDA, that run the medical association, you know, that actually own it. And so that's why you go to the stores, plain as day, you see mystery ingredients in your food.
Of course, that I never heard before.
Or
big words, you know,
or
like
what happens, you know, you go to the doctors and they give you a bunch of prescriptions, a bunch of chemicals to what? It doesn't do anything. You know, you'll see people that have like 20, maybe 15 to 20 different prescriptions because they're trying to heal them. You know, and it's like, come on, man. It's like, you could tell that's just all set up to fail, you know, regardless. You know, and just right there, it shows you that our society, it's not what we think it is, you know. It's unfortunate, but it's not, you know.
And it's sad too, because I feel like once we are diagnosed with these problems that they say we have, we start to shield ourselves from others, right? We feel like we are a virus. You know, people who have depression, people who have anxiety, they feel like, well, I can't go out, I can't hang out because I have these things, and I either one will become so nervous within myself that I can't be out with others, or they have this other persona of, I don't want to bore people with my problems, so I'm not going to go out. And we need each other. Like that, like more than anything, you know, you guys have known me for a really long time. You guys know my mom.
Right.
My mom
Laura.
is not, shout out to Miss Laura.
Right.
And to the flower
Wacky
plant.
Oh, this is the good old days.
Yeah, for real.
You said good old days.
Yeah. But yeah, if you know, anyone watching this, if you guys know my mom, she is she is such a wonderful woman. Even to this day, she has never turned anyone away. You know, if you've come to our house, she is never the type to be like, okay, you know, you need to leave. She's like, what do you want, baby? I'm gonna feed you. You're part of this family now. I think like you have one chance to have hospitality unless it's a party, because the second time you come, you better know where the dishes are. You better know where things are, because she's like, you part of the family now. Like you don't. She gives you permission to have community. Not just in the physical, but just in your heart. And I've always been drawn to that. You know, when we first moved here back in 1996, she had her own kindercare, and I remember she would invite. It didn't matter what type of child you were. If you were a difficult child, if you know, if there was something wrong with you, she would invite you into our home and say, this is a safe place. Even if you're mad, let's talk about it. Even if you're sad, let's talk about it. And we don't have those safe havens anymore. I don't, you know, I know they have like the YMCA and things like that. But you guys remember the Boys and Girls Club,
right?
You know, things like that, like that vibe where you could go somewhere and it was okay to not be okay. And I know that, you know, in some places, some people do feel that community, but not a lot. And with a lot of businesses closing, churches are even closing now, which is, you know, I don't really know how to even comment on that, because churches are supposed to be safe places, but I think we've all had experiences where churches aren't safe places. And I really do believe it's because we all have this internal script that we say to ourselves, if I'm not this way, I don't deserve a community. I don't deserve the love of a community or the tribe or whatever you want to call it, the village. And the biggest problem with that is we are killing ourselves, because we start saying, well, why can't I just hang out with people? Why can't I just be myself? We wear these masks. That's the biggest problem. We're wearing these masks. You know, we need to just accept people. Like, there are so many beautiful things about people that we need to be curious about. And Tony Robbins talks about that. I hope you guys are big Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony
I
Robbins.
love Tony Robbins.
I listen to him.
And he says we need to stop being and he doesn't use the word afraid, but instead of, you know, lashing out on those people or saying, hey, you can't sit with us, be curious. Well, why are they like that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When someone yells at you, or when someone's honking at, you know, with your car, like I just had this happen. This gentleman was riding my bumper because I'm trying to find my place. I didn't know how to get here. And this truck, you could tell he was so upset. And I was like, man, you need to stop riding on my bumper. Well, as I turn in, you know, you could tell he was like, la, la. And right when I was about to like whip my head, I was like, well, why is he mad though? Like, he probably has somewhere he needs to be. He could be dealing with some things that I am not aware of.
Exactly.
And instead of going there, we go to the whip the head. Oh, no, you disrespectful. I'm about to follow you. What's your license plate number? Like, now you taking all this time to be upset about something. And guess what? You're going to I'm not taking that back home to my children and to my husband. They don't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take that to you guys, where, you know, you guys are trying to put out a positive light to people and have a real talk and focus with people. We have to be intentional. Because if we're not, we are going to constantly dig this hole for ourselves. And community is so important. I've never drifted from that thought. I think that's why I'm still so passionate in the church, even though there's a lot of things I don't agree with the church. I feel passionate because of the effect they want to have in their community. I love bringing people together. Even if we can all agree on something. And it's funny because a lot of people think, oh, we don't agree on anything, right? If you voting for Trump and I'm voting for Biden, and I'm sorry to bring up politics, this is just an example, so please people don't get all upset. It's just an example. Let's say that's happening, right? Well, now we don't got nothing in common. Donna can't sit next to me. You can't even sit on the same. You see this cushion here? Don't even try to be on the same side. But I bet you we can both agree that McDonald's burgers is what's up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Look at this one. I love you so much, Johnny. I bet we can agree that we want our families to be have a long life and be prosperous.
Just because we disagree on certain things doesn't mean we can't get along or communicate properly or still like each other or still be friends. You know, that's the big thing that's going on nowadays. It's just, and it also is because of media, you know, and social media. You know, the way it has gotten is ridiculous. You know, it's people take things so personally on the phone. So, oh, you posted this, might as well just unfriend me. You know, the people that say that, you know, it's like, come on, like, really?
It was so funny.
And that just shows, you know, that people are so quick to just, just because you think that way or you have that idea, then you know what, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's very
Yeah.
dismissive. You're not even trying to get to know a person. You're just, like you said, you're digging yourself into this
Yeah.
isolation of just in your mind. And, oh, well, I'm going to stick to this and that's it. I'm
Yeah.
going to stick to my ways and that's it.
It's
You know?
it's crazy because I look at life like because I'm the student, you know, and so like it's crazy
Hey.
how hey what's up? Yeah, it's crazy because I look at life that like as I'm the student and I'm here to learn from each other. So
Right.
even though somebody disagrees with me or not, I can still learn from them. They can learn from me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because we can learn from each other even in the same area.
Yeah.
And an example would be, you know, I could be good at math, at multiplication, but I'm not really good at fractions.
Right.
It's same mathematics,
Right.
but in different areas, so we can still learn from each other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how people have that mindset. You know,
and
it's just
and at times it sucks that like you were saying a little bit ago, you know, community
yeah,
is kind of being lost. You know,
yeah, it is.
it's more of a catchphrase in
Right.
a lot of the ways. You know, especially unfortunately used in politics. You know, they use community and unity.
Yeah.
A lot of these politicians use that, but they're not really trying to unify
Of course not.
communities and you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You know, it's used just as a catchphrase or
Right.
a way to make you think, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
then, you know, what has really changed? You know,
Right.
for the progress of humanity or people. You know,
Yeah.
really nothing.
Well, it's it's you know, in the Bible it says word without action is just dead.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's you know, you don't have to read the Bible to know that. That's been
Right.
said throughout, you know, the that start of time. The thing of it is, what action needs to be had? You know, you had mentioned something about people unfriending people. I remember when the Black Lives Matter movement happened a couple months ago. It's
Right.
still happening. It's
Right.
active. If you are following a lot of that type of stuff, but it's what is it that we want? You know, it's hard when you deal with people who are hurt. And
Yeah,
so they just
exactly.
want to say, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt.
They
I
react
just want
emotionally.
you to hear
Yeah,
that I
They
hurt.
react
Exactly.
And then
emotionally.
there are people on the other half who are like, I want action, but I don't know how to go about it. And then there's the third people who are like, we have action, we just don't have power.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to get to a point where, one, we all know we have power.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to be wealthy to have power.
Right.
You
Not at
guys.
all.
No, of course not.
As long
Because-
as you have a will, there will always be a way.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we have to figure out what actions helps the whole, because a lot of people, something that really disturbed me was with the Black Lives Matter movement. I was getting really excited because there are times where I do feel invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the thing of it was, I never wanted anyone else to feel what I felt. I just
Right,
didn't want to feel
exactly.
invisible anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And I felt like a lot of people, when the Black Lives Matter movement was very at its peak, I felt like a lot of people that were other races were like, well, now we don't matter. Only black people matter.
Right.
And the problem with that is we should never be in a place like America and
Right.
feel like one race is dominant.
Right.
Right.
When we're supposed to be known as the melting pot country.
Which it is.
Yeah,
You know,
it
and
is.
it can't be.
Yeah.
You know, because that just again, it's just something that keeps on being perpetuated from years. You know, like.
Yeah.
Over the years, it's happened, you know, with the whole civil act, you know, right movements happen, you know, with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X when they were trying to, it's just the same thing, but just different times, you know.
Yeah, different times.
You can't continue something and keep trying to, like you said, just single one and say, oh, okay, it's just this, because then people are emotional
Yeah.
and they'll be like, oh, well, what about us, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's, and it's unfortunate that a lot of those kind of things, they're controlled
Yeah.
by certain
Yeah.
people and groups
Right.
that have money and are backed by certain corporations, you know, and they'll have one agenda, you know,
Yeah.
and it's not truly unification at times,
Right.
you know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, it takes a small amount like of concerned true citizens and people to actually change things, and actually, you know, it just takes a few, but it's hard because unfortunately, like you say, there's people out there that are too emotional and that don't know how to truly communicate properly. They'll get emotional and they'll block themselves out, and you know what, I don't want to talk about this no more.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on, you know.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, there's the people that do want to do something, but then they're like, oh, how do we go about it?
Yeah.
Or like, who's gonna who's going to help, type of situation. But I feel like we can get to that point, if we all just organize properly, we talk the right way, and then slowly that way, try to attract people that are with that same mindset and are willing to open up. That are at that point, where they're like, okay, I know what needs to change. I know how to communicate, and I'm willing to communicate. I'm willing to be open, and let's proceed with something. Let's lay down a plan and go for it, because we can. We have numbers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the people who are in power, the politicians and corporations and banks, they don't care, and they haven't cared about
they haven't cared
the progression of
beginning.
people. The people, the ones who the 9-to-5ers, all dayers, the citizens. Nothing has changed. So it's on us to take that back and try to do something. We can't just sit around and
Man.
hopefully this does something.
Website
Right.
warriors.
You know what I'm saying?
They're
Like
the
we
website
gotta
warriors.
get out there
Man.
and start, putting down something and then trying to go for it, regardless, because that's the only thing that has ever changed things for our society is just people who are ready to do something. And they are not just, oh, well, I want it to be my way, or I want it to be this way. No, it's going to be something that's going to help everybody. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, indigenous. It doesn't matter. It's for everybody's growth as a human being, because if we can't communicate properly, we're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
If we're always like, you, no, I, well, me, no, it's like.
Yeah. Everyone's focusing on I'm right instead of what's right.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, straight up. And that's real.
Yeah.
I think also too something that you were talking about when people don't know. So the 3 people I had mentioned, you guys know my past. Some things I got into before sort of this new chapter of my life, being married. Being able to be on one accord with great people who talk about these things, and that's what I love about your guys' show, and just talking about these real things. And I think a lot of people, what we need to do first and foremost is heal. Especially us 80s kids, which I say this so much because us 80 kids, we have this perfect balance within us. We understand what it was like to play outside with friends and play indoors with friends on our gaming councils and things like that. I think we really have an understanding of community, and it's been lost because over the last 10 to 20 years we've been pushed more into the websites, the internet, things like that.
It strips us away from like community and true connection. Exactly, that's the word. So.
And I think that we have to, the first and foremost thing we have to do is go through the healing process, because the healing process, I'm sure you guys heard it, hurt people, but healing people can teach people how to heal themselves. You don't heal them.
No,
because you're still hurt if you think you're about to heal somebody.
Right.
Because it's a matter of control.
Yeah.
And so we have to get to a point where when they want to get healed, we have something that will help them be healed.
Right. And that's like the basis of like what we're doing, That's why we always talk about it starts with oneself,
Yes, it does.
It starts with oneself, and being able to dig at yourself and really truly hold yourself accountable for the negative things you think, say, and do in your private time. When you're alone, when you're by yourself, what do you think? How do you react? When you see a certain group of people, a certain person, what is your first instant thought, and why do you think like that? Whether it's negative, and if it's negative, then, oh man, I need to change the way I think. I need to change that. Or like you do something negative in your life, or the way you react to certain things. Why do I react this way? What happened to me when I was younger that made me, because it all starts when we're young. Everything that we learn is from when we're young, and how we grew up, what affected us, what changed us, our perspectives, all that. So we have to be able to dig at that and really not say, well, no, it didn't happen to me. Well, no, I'm not, It's like, okay, well, yeah, that happened to me. This affected me the way my parent did this and did that, said this to me, did that to me. Oh, this person, my sibling or whatever it was, like, oh, this is what affected me. Okay, well, now I can get over it. Now I know that wasn't this or whatever, and really attack it. And it starts with oneself mainly, And it helps to have people to communicate with, especially if you have a little bit of trouble doing that. But you have to be open. You know, you have to be
course.
able to be willing to be like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's not that there's people out there trying to control what you're thinking or no. It's just like a suggestion.
Yes.
You know? It's a
yes.
suggestion. It's like, you know, try this. If it doesn't work for you, then oh, good. You know, you'll find your way.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that you say that because do you guys do like book shout outs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last,
Absolutely.
so within the 4 years that I met my husband and we've been on this journey, you know, I've read some books that really helped shift my mindset because it was actually funny. We were dating for like 3 months, got married, and then I went into a deep depression where I was like pushing him away. I was just like, I'm not worthy of this marriage. You're such a great guy. I'm not worthy of this marriage. And he's like, girl, you tripping. We about to do this. And, you know, he's like, this is forever. And so I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So he had suggested some books to me. And the first book he had given me was Unf Yourself by Gary Bishop. I don't know if anyone's read that, but it is ideal. And there's a second book to it called Stop Doing That, SHIT. I don't want to cuss. I got kids, y'all. But I hope y'all can spell. And that's also by Gary Bishop. And one of the things that it says in the first book, the Unf Yourself, is he says to write out your whole life story.
Yeah.
This took me like 2 days. And then he said, go back with a highlighter and write and highlight every time something disturbed you, scared you, made you afraid.
Right.
You thought it was a threat to yourself or your family. Write that out because that is what's triggering you to be upset, for you to be sad, for you to feel anxiety, depression.
Exactly.
You know, we don't wake up every day saying, I'm afraid. No, just like what Cesar and Donnie saying, what caused me to be afraid? And go back. You know, there are times where you know, I'm still working on my jealousy with Philip. Like Philip will come out, you know, with what is it, the gray sweatpants and white shirt, and I'm like, nah, brother. Like
nope.
everybody's about to get got, and he's like, I'm just moving some beds. I'm like, not today, you ain't. You know what I mean? Like, and it's funny because I've always carried around that jealousy. And he, you know, at first he was like, ooh, this is sort of sexy, getting you all mad. And then after a while, I'm like, this ain't a Jonas Brother jealousy. This is you about to kill everybody. Yeah.
Like a gut
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like never, and it was sad because he was the one that had to deal with the repercussions of it. You know what I mean? It was never the girl, it was normally the girl who was like, who the gray pants, you know, white shirt boy. No, don't worry about it. But you see, and so I had to go back, right? I had to go back to the story, go through my highlight. Oh, okay. Well, it's because 3 times in my life I've been cheated on. I've been, you know, I was in a serious relationship that didn't go well due to those reasons. And you go back, and then even further back, okay, you know, some situations with my dad.
Right.
Some situations with my mom, some situations with my grandfather. So we're like, now we're breaking generational curses, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so important to know thyself, right? Heal thyself, know thyself. I know you guys preach that a lot.
Yeah.
We need to be more intentional because when we're intentional, things do properly get healed.
Yeah.
I can't stand people like, I'm healed.
Right.
Well,
No.
let's put you in a situation, right? Because that's the funniest thing for us believers, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're like, God, I'm healed. And he's like, let's test it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you failed.
Yeah.
But that's okay because there's grace for another day, you know? We don't ever be hard on yourself, you guys. God gave us so many, seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years. He sets it up so that you can choose within seconds to be a different person.
Yes,
I
exactly.
love
So
that
true.
so much.
That's true.
I remember hearing that at my church, and I was like, wow. Like, we have seconds.
Yeah.
Within a second, you can be a totally different person if you want to be. So don't be too hard on yourself, but heal yourself. It is the most freeing thing to walk down with someone you care about. I don't want to keep giving this example, but I do like that I can walk down with my husband and I'm not looking to see who's looking at him.
Yeah.
I am fully enjoying this moment because I won't always have this moment. We are all going to pass away. We're all going to have our moments where we don't see each other for several years. And I miss that. You know, I've missed so many of my friends because of years of depression where I was like, I didn't feel worthy. Like, nah, they don't want to be around that. Or your friends don't want to be around you because you're always depressing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's sometimes, I'm sure y'all were both like, Jaameah, you know what? This is third year, bro. Like, I don't know if we can see you be with this man, you know, abusing you and all this stuff. And for a long time, I was like, well, they ain't down. No, they up. You the one down. You need to be picked up, healed, and restored. Take the journey, and it's not a get quick fix thing. This is a journey that you have forever. This is another thing I'll bring up the church. Why do you think God waits until the end of your life to judge you? Because at that point, he can judge you. When people try to judge you in the middle of your life, it's like, well, they got a whole other half of their life. They don't even know who they going to be. So how you going to judge them? It's so funny to me that people are like, oh, look at this person. Like, well, who are they going to be tomorrow, though?
Right.
You're focused on today. Who are they? We need to be more futuristic. That's what really was what made America great. We've lost that. I'm going off on a whim though. Let's get back on track.
You're good. No, this is good.
No, you're good. Yeah,
because that leads to like when you talked about, you know, we can change every moment, and that's true. We all got an expiration date.
Yes.
You know, so one of my things that God always worked on me was patience.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And my journey is nothing but patience and perseverance.
Right.
And you know, and then sometimes you just come unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And the Lord will bring you to situations where he's going to test. Because there's many times where I'd be like, okay, I'm patient enough. I persevered enough. I think I'm ready now.
Yeah.
And then the Lord would come and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring you something.
It's a pop quiz on you.
Yeah, it's a pop quiz, you know.
Right.
And then, you know, it's crazy because then he'll just lead me into certain situations and circumstances.
Yeah, yep.
Where it creates greater patience.
Yeah.
And it shows I can, like, my personal belief, I can depend on him more.
Yes.
Instead of trying to do everything. Because if I try to do everything on my own, it doesn't give him room to work in me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how he just puts me in these places and circumstances to keep growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what life is, right?
Yes.
It's nothing but growth. It is growth.
Right.
So
And it's just you also have to, you know, remind yourself too. You know, you have to like you said, it's a constant thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a daily thing that you have to do. You know, remember, because you know sometimes we'll slip.
Yeah.
And we'll go back into that negative state at times, or we're like, but then that's the times where you really have to be conscious enough to be like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
All right, you know, you're kind of drifting back into that mentality or those thoughts, so stop. Okay, I'm done. Okay, cool, boom.
Yeah.
And just boom. That's how quick we can change
Yeah,
things. You
that's
know?
true. Because I do slip into that negative.
Yeah,
thought
no, I mean,
so
there's
quick, you know.
Yeah,
like,
and those, it's you know, we're human. We're emotional beings, you know, to the core, you know, but we're capable of holding ourselves accountable 100%, you know, and being able to change. It's just when we don't want to, then we stay stagnant. We don't grow. We just stay in the same mentality. And for some reason, we're always mad, you know. Wow, you know, everything gets you
Salt.
mad, you know. So
salt,
you
Always
know?
salt.
And so, but yeah, being able to do that constantly on a daily basis is definitely key, you know.
It is
to personal growth, you know.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, something to add on to what you guys were saying is put a day on it. You always put a day on it. Yeah. If you mad, I'm only be mad for 3 days.
There you go. Yeah.
If you gonna break your diet, I'm only breaking my diet for 2 days.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna get mad, you're pissed or something, and you just scream it out for 5-10 minutes, go punch something, hit something, scream, and then okay, that's it.
Yeah.
All right,
I
done.
take old,
Proceed.
for real. No,
that's it.
I take old wine bottles or Moscato bottles, any kind of bottles I can find at that time. You don't have to be alcoholic, but and just break them. Seriously,
No, that's good.
Break them. If you are that mad, instead of taking out other people, just take a bottle or a dish that you just don't care for, something that obviously you don't care for. Don't do something that's valuable. I can't stand people who do that. They're like, I'm gonna get mad, like an 80s movie. They get mad, they break all their stuff, and they're like, and now I'm depressed because all of my stuff is broken. It's like, well, who did that? Find, you know, what I would normally do is Oh my god.
I was like, yeah, you broke the TV. Now you're pissed because you can't watch the show today,
Right.
huh?
There will be no Netflix and chill. But it's just one of those things where it's just like you, and set it aside. Like I loved it because there would be times where I'd be out with people and they would have like their wine bottles. I'm like, can I take those? And people are always like, well, what do you need them for? And I loved it because whenever I got mad, every time there was a frustrating time, because it will come, you'll have your good days, especially when you, I think when you are more intentional, you are a lot happier than when you are not intentional, because then anything can trigger a episode. But when you're more intentional, you are actually more joyful. And so then when those big storms do come and anger does arise, you already are like, I need to go into my room, grab my bottles and smash them.
That's good.
You break it and then you're like, okay. And then right after you smash them, that's when you're like, okay, I'm going to allow this to simmer for the next hour, for the next day. But put a mark on it. A lot of people are like, I feel depressed. As soon as you start talking to yourself, I'm going to feel depressed. I'm going to have anxiety. That's when you say, okay, body, or okay, spirit, or okay, Jaameah, you're going to be mad or upset or have anxiety for about 2 hours. Right. But that's all I'm going to allow because you're intentional now. Yeah. When you're not intentional, you're like, I'm be mad. Right. And there's no expiration date on there. And now you looking like Scrooge McDuck for the rest of your life. And you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, everyone's like, well, what's your problem? They're like, well, in the 6th grade, someone took my favorite pencil and I just never put an expiration date on my anger. And it's like, well, now you're mad about something that happened in 6th grade and you've already graduated college and you have a whole family and you're still mad about it.
You know,
exactly.
They hold the past on. And I've seen that with some of my family members. You know, it's just they chose to hold on to the past and let anger kind of be their strength, but yet their weakness. You know, a lot of people don't do that. You know, they'll hold on to things that happen, negative things that they messed up on or they did wrong, and they try to use it as their strength, but it's really their weakness, because you'll see them and the whole time, and at times out of nowhere, like, oh dang, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Nothing. That's because they're in here, you know, they're in here just going back and forth of what they did wrong, what they could have done, what they should have done. Instead of just letting that grow, you know, heal properly, and then, you know, let it be what it was. And maybe in the future, maybe things will change. Maybe you can change things, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But having intention in doing things and actually having that, it helps. It does help you. You'll find yourself being more content, more happy. And then it also helps to see that within other people that are not intentional within themselves, you know. You know, you can spot it real quick once you get to that point. You're like, oh, like you said, you know, those people that get mad at you just because you're going slow on this. It's like, what the heck? They're like, man, this person is this mad over, you know,
something so small.
You know, it's like, okay, you know, obviously you're going through things. Obviously something's wrong.
Right,
with
something deeper.
Like, you know, it's not my fault. You know, you need a hug, or but you know, attention and doing things and having intention. It's for sure. It's 100%.
Yeah.
It's sad too, because if think about not being intentional, I would have allowed that truck to be like, well, it's me. It's me. I'm the reason why that person's mad, and now I'm sad about that, because it's always me, right? And it's like, it's not you. You're just going back to the time where your dad said that you know, you're the cause of something that happened that was terrible. It's like, we have to be it's just like playing video games. If you know your opponent, you are more likely to win compared to not knowing your opponent. Right? Like, I remember playing Mortal Kombat or Tekken with my siblings, and you know, there was always that one sibling. If they were losing, you know, they were going to unplug the PlayStation. So you're just intentional about it. There was one sibling you knew had been up until 2:00, knowing all the codes in the book that we had, and so you know that you have a 50-50 chance. You have to be aware of these things. It's not like they're not ghosts anymore. I wish we would stop acting like the things that we feel and the things that happen are like these huge surprises. They're not. Like, we have been dealing with this forever, just like COVID. Like, so many people, and I'm so sorry for anyone who has lost a family member or someone who's in the hospital due to COVID. But this is not the first time we've ever had a pandemic. This has happened several times throughout centuries of Earth being here. We need to be more intentional. Like the only thing I've learned within this year is that we need better medical systems, we need better school systems, we need better judicial systems, we need better systems that can help our community when things like this happen.
We just need a better system, honestly.
We need better
Unfortunately,
systems.
our system is broken. You know, it's not good, man. In any kind of way, it's just like you're just saying. You know, it's not for the people. Honestly, it's not to better anything. You know, like it's almost like the people have been put on to like the side burner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's like there's not good things in place to really.
I think it's a fear thing. I think that if you think about when the industrial age was built and how many people were on this earth, I think that at the time, the people who were in government were like, we can do this. We can help these people. Like, you know what I mean? The people that first came to America, we can help these people. We got 500 people here? Yeah. And just like you said about multiplying, that happens really quickly.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a time for peace. And I feel like, in a way, they got scared. Like, they're like, we got what, 22, is it 22 billion people or a million people that we have in the U.S.?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but
I'm not 100% too.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I don't gotta Google.
But
we got a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I told you guys about a situation that happened to us where we went from 2 kids to 5 kids, and for the first week we had them play video games because we didn't know what to do with them. And finally we were like, we need a routine. We need to feed them better food. They need to stop snacking. We need to get them ready for school. We need to have a bedtime. We need to have control on how much popcorn they eat because they eat a lot of it. We need to get to a point where we're not afraid of the people, but we start putting in systems for the people.
Yeah.
People are scared because when you have more, if you think you're just taking care of 2 people, you're used to that, right? We were totally used to having just our 2 kids. But when you have 5 kids, all of a sudden, that's a different ball game. And if you're not prepared, or if you're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna have 5 kids all of a sudden, that's a pretty scary thing. But you don't fear and coward and say, well, we're gonna keep the system the same. No, that at that point you get more people, which thank God we have our village of people to help us. You have your village of people to help you, and you get expertise. There's a book I read called Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell, and he talks about the makings of Singapore. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I love Singapore, and just hearing this story really inspired me. But, a president, I don't even know if he's a president, but the head man of Singapore was very, sad because his country was not the best. You know, they were filled with ghettos. They were filled with slums. People weren't educated, things of that nature. So when he became a president there, and again, you guys, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a president or what type of dictation they have. Yeah. But he said, when he first got into office, he said, I want Singapore to be the best place to come and visit from other people in other countries. How can I do that? And so they pretty much just honed in for a whole month, talking with other people. And slowly but surely, they started taking people from Germany. They started taking people from Africa. They started taking people from Asia, and they were inviting them over. And they were saying, you are good in your economics. You're good in your medical. You're good in your science. You're good with this.
Right.
Can you help us?
Yeah.
And they spent the next, I think, 2 to 3 years making Singapore the best place. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Singapore, but
no, I haven't.
Singapore, I think is how it's
Singapore.
said.
Yeah,
Okay.
But beautiful. And it just took that, it took 3 years, but what could we achieve if we take the next 10 years to go to Germany, go to Africa? There are places that are bigger than us.
Yeah.
And just humble ourselves. I think a lot of our presidents are just like, I'm king of the world because I'm running America. Everybody wants to live in America. Not anymore.
Yeah.
We need to humble ourselves. We need to go out. Hey, I saw, in Japan, you guys have a really great education system. What are you guys doing? Hey, I saw here in this country, you guys have great with this. Can you help us? Hey, Canada, I see that you guys are having free health care. How can you help us?
Yes, yeah.
We need to stop saying we're bigger and better because we are just a child to all these other countries.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's just the unfortunate thing here is just the mismanagement of resources, money, and all that stuff. You know, that it's obvious, that's why we don't our healthcare is garbage. Honestly,
it is.
like you said, our school systems are getting even worse.
Yeah.
Man.
You know, and then the way we process foods
Yeah.
is, and then honestly, there's other things that haven't been attacked, you know, or that haven't been, you know, really looked at, and they have been just let go, or not even put as a thing that's an issue.
Right.
Like again, one thing that we were just talking about, or that we just released, is just the amount of people that fall victim to human trafficking, missing children.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's a huge epidemic. That's a huge problem. But that falls into levels that are higher. You know,
yeah.
that people like, you know, that's where you see there's a big problem within our world. You know, that there's people with power that don't have really in mind the good of the people or the better of the people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, again, I feel like my biggest thing is I feel like it's now time for us, the people, to actually do something. Because we can't just keep sitting around waiting for somebody, oh, hopefully this person, hopefully that person,
Yeah.
or waiting for like a hero type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, you know, they'll change something, or but it never comes. It never happens. You know what I mean? And I really feel that it's up to us, the people, to really wake up now and realize nothing is going to help us, you know, besides ourselves. You know what I mean? We know what we need within our communities. We should, the way it was built, supposedly this society was for the people, by the people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like that no more.
Right. Yeah.
Not
No.
one way.
Yeah.
You know, so we really need to try to find a way to get that power back and really dictate what comes in our communities, what doesn't,
Yes.
what's in our foods, what kind of medication, or what remedies are out there, what ways, hospitals, different way to cure people, because there's many, just like that doctor I was talking about from that documentary, The Beautiful Truth. His name was Max Gerson, and yeah, he has books and books on that. And then another guy, which is Dr. Sebi,
Yes.
you know, who, unfortunately, these people get silenced. Either they get silenced or they don't get publicized because it's a myth.
Yeah.
It's no way. But again, that's like you're saying, big pharmaceutical companies. Unfortunately, they have control, and they have control, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we need to realize, is that we don't have control no more over, we have control over ourselves, and that's where it starts. But once we get ourselves in tune, then we need to start attacking out there, and realizing that we need to fix our community. We need to do something.
Yes.
You know, and it can't just be, again, waiting for a hero or waiting one day, you know.
Yeah.
No, we have to put action, you know,
Yeah.
if we want our world to be different, if we want our children's world to be different when they grow up, you know, it's time for us to
build that legacy for the next generation to come.
Yeah. You know, it's
establish something.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly, man. And it's scary at times, or we don't know what to do, or we don't know where to start. But starting here, being able to communicate, you know, being able to talk, not being so, no. Like, we ran into a bunch of people
Oh yeah,
on the street.
It says our bro.
We ran into a bunch of people when we were, you know, talking about, you know, the episode of human trafficking, and getting people's opinion out there, and walking in and talking to people. And you realize that a lot of people are just so scared and so insecure of talking. You know, I was like, oh, hi, my name's Cesar. This is Donnie. We're just out here. You don't want to talk to people about something that's very tragic that's going on in our world. It's been happening for years, and we're just out here getting people's opinions, and we wanted to see if you want to be part of it on the show, and we'll record you. And oh yeah, I mean, I would like to, but it's just, you know, I'm kind of shy, and I just don't want to be on camera. No, not right now.
Oh man.
So then when is the good time?
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know,
That's the sad part. It's like,
or
then when is a good
is
time?
the good
is it?
time going to be when we can't even talk to each other no more? We can't even communicate properly. I can't even get to you, and I can't even.
Some
you know
beef
what I'm
or
saying?
vendetta stuff.
You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Is that
Well,
going to be the good time? You know?
Right. Well, it seems like it, because first we got that, you know, social media stuff on the phone, and now we got this mask. So I mean, you know, stripping us away from, like you said, like connecting with each other. These are the small steps of trying to keep us separated, keep us divided.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, you know, how me and Cesar ran into a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Just like enclosed.
And they had good things to say.
Of course.
And because we talked, you know, they're like, oh, I just don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
Like, but we would talk to them and get their ideas and stuff, and they would have great things to say. And I'm just like, come on, man. Like, are you sure you don't want to be on? I mean, it's just gonna be 5 minutes. Oh no. Or people are just like, oh, I don't have time, and they're just sitting there at the bus stop.
Yeah,
like
waiting for the bus.
10 minutes, 15 minutes.
It's like, man, you must have come for like 20
on.
minutes, bro. I mean, it says I've been watching you across the street.
Right.
I
But I mean, it's just that, man. We can't be scared just to communicate and just open up just a little bit, you know. And then you will see how much that will change you, or change your perspective, or open your mind up, or, you know, it's.
Yeah.
But we need to not, like I said, when we said in one of the episodes, fear has a nice strong grip on a lot of us in our society, but we can break that chain, you know. And but again, it just starts. And there's a lot of people out there who think the same way, but we just got to connect. We got to not be afraid. It would not just be feeling like, oh, well, I don't know about your idea. I don't want to talk because you think that way, or I don't want to talk because, like you said, oh, you're this president or that president, or you're voting for. It doesn't matter at this point, because obviously they haven't. None of them, not one has done anything for the better.
Right? Yeah, nada.
Nobody has done anything to better our situation as a community or as a whole, you know, for the people. Not one. Yeah. Not one, you know. So
I hear all the time from our mentors, they say change doesn't start in the White House, it starts in your house.
You know?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
that's so big right there.
We need to always keep that in the forefront of our minds, because we come together. You know, I know in the next couple of months we're going to have, we're going to be voting and things like that. And it's going to be the same as always. You know, I remember back when Bush and Obama, you know, running for president, you know, getting a presidency, we all cheer, we're all excited.
Emotional.
But then in 3 months later, we just see the chaos of all of these things to keep us distracted. Yeah. And then we don't really know what the president's done until they're out of office. Yeah. And it's not what we thought or it's not what the promises that they said we were going to have.
False hope.
Exactly. Yeah, and so we need to focus on that and be, again, intentional. Like that word has changed my life over the last 4 years of just constant, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? And that's hard. It's so hard. I don't ever want anyone to think that, you know, one day I woke up and I'm like, I'm free of this. It's a challenge every day. Yeah. But if you can start with your intentionality, you can conquer mountains. You really can.
Oh yeah.
And you'll see
hills.
Right.
Yeah. Straight up, because even the smallest things sometimes get me down, and I'm like, wait, why am I even thinking like this? Exactly. I'm not even that serious, you know.
But then you'll realize that it's quick, you know, like you think it'll take forever, but then you'll realize like you made steps.
That's so true.
Like that, you know, like, oh dang, well, I don't feel this way no more when I'm around this person, or around a crowd, or around a certain situation, or in front of people. I don't feel that no more, because I'm slowly every day attacking this, or putting myself in situations where I'm getting out of my bubble, or out of my box, or out of my comfort zone, you know.
Yeah,
and which
because it's the mindset that makes you feel with so much worry and doubt that you think it's super hard and difficult. But once you actually make the action with those, of course, baby steps we always talk about, you make that baby step, then it ain't so hard what you thought it was gonna be. Yeah, you know, exactly. You know, because then you finally breaking that chain, breaking that bondage of worry, doubt, and fear and anxiety. Yeah, and so in order to break that chain, you got to put in a little bit of action. Exactly. So,
I think also too who you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
A lot of times, you know, over the last couple of years, I'm always looking for 3 types of friends. Friends that make me friendly, right? Yeah. They make me better in a way of being a friend to someone else. Yeah. Friends that make me faithful. Right, to the commitments that I've made, which is so hard nowadays. A lot of people, they're like, I'm faithful, and then again they have a test, and then it's oh my gosh,
you're like,
that's
damn.
the totally other way, bro. And friends that make you fruitful, and I don't mean just prosperity wise, but they make your thoughts fruitful. Like, what are you doing to make yourself a fruitful person for others? Right. Because that is the hardest thing I think we can do for others. And you had said it about being patient. In the Bible, the first thing it says is love is patient. Yes. Love is kind. Patience is the first thing. Yeah.
we have to be patient with ourselves. But do we have friends that are patient with us?
Right.
And when they're not patient with us, can we forgive them? Because why can't they be patient with us? I have so many friends who I talk to now, and they're sort of in the same mindset of just feeling sorry for themselves. They're always looking for that, what's it called? The handout of sadness, right? They want you to feel bad for them. And it's one thing if it's something brand new and you're like, okay, this is tough, and you got a few months of it or even a year, you know, but when you've been doing it for 10 years, you know what I mean? I'm sure you guys are a great example of that for me. Like I stayed in my position, but I always wanted someone to feel bad for me. I always wanted someone to cry on their shoulder. I always wanted someone to say, oh, you know, you deserve better, Jaameah. And it's like, but bro, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I'm just sitting here like, bro, I deserve better. Like, it's funny that, like, it took me, I had like a 18-month, just nobody. I had nobody. And it was the hardest time in my life. And I'm so happy I had that moment, though, because if I didn't, I wouldn't know that I needed to change. I wouldn't know that I deserve better. And I started getting into fitness. I started eating better. Started learning about the vegan diet, taking sugar out and stuff. I still eat meat, y'all. Don't.
Yeah, meat's bomb.
Girl,
I'm working. I'm growing.
Cheeseburgers. Oh my God, bro. Yeah.
I'm learning to balance it, though. I don't eat as much meat. But what I'm saying is, when you have these moments in your life when you're enlightened, it is so it takes such a heavy burden off of you. But listen to what people say, you know, find a friend that can teach you to be friendly, find a friend that can teach you to be faithful. That to me is just that those friends are far and few. If you can find someone that can help you to be faithful, I think that is such a blessing. And if you can find someone to be fruitful, again, not just prosperity wise, that's great. If you can find someone that can help you to reach any type of goals you have in your life or dreams you have, that's great. But also have someone who's deeply rooted. Like, okay, you want to be fruitful. It always will start with the mind. Always. Right. If they don't start with that, then you may be cautious. You know, but if someone's like, okay, you want to do this, you want to cater to this community, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you really feel about that? And why do you feel that way?
Right.
Because just having it be a memory of my childhood isn't enough. That's not going to help you talk with people. That's not going to help you go out and have real talks.
Right.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah. And I think that is very important, the thing that you said that, and I've always believed that too, and I've learned that, is that at times we need to be by ourselves, do things for ourselves to truly grow, and then do for others, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
really, some of us do need that time to truly be alone.
Yes.
And then really kind of check ourselves and realize, oh dang, especially if you know that you've messed up and that you've done, you know, lived a negative mindset, negative way of thinking, whether it was feeling sorry for yourself or feeling like the world owes you, or like somebody owes you, or, you know, feeling some kind of what's that word? But yeah, just feeling like you're owed something, you know, despite of whatever you might have gone through. But at times that will lead you to destruction, because you feel like, oh, well, why aren't you taking care of me now? Or this person didn't take care of me, or this didn't happen for me. Well, why did this happen? Well, this person did. Well, while they had all the people that cared for them around them, and told them, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. I care, I care, I care. But then next thing you know, they're boom falling. But then they're, oh, why isn't anybody helping me out? Told you.
You're like, down and I'm up.
You know.
For real.
But you know, and then sometimes it takes those people to just truly be by themselves, do for themselves, actually grow, and realize, like, oh, okay, dang, I messed up. Like, okay, I need to really change myself. I need to progress.
It's true. You know? It is so true. And I was gonna say something too. I read this book called The Speed of Trust. I just finished it last month, and it was so good because what you were saying about you owe me. They said the 3 things about people who don't trust is they say you owe me, oh man, what was it? You owe me, you did this to me,
God owes me. God did this to me.
Man.
And it's crazy because a lot of people, they'll put themselves in that 4 category, and each one will trigger a certain type of distrust towards that person.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
when I first started reading the book, it was funny. It was the first book Philip ever gave me. Oh, no, it was Battlefield of the Mind was the first one he gave me. But the second book was The Speed of Trust. And I was so mad at him. I was like, you disrespectful, and you're sleeping on the couch.
You're like, how dare
You're
you?
sleeping on the couch.
Much, for real. And now we're almost 4 years into our marriage, and I was like, oh, I should read The Speed of Trust.
Right.
And because now I'm happy about it, right? I'm like, I'm ready to grow. But again, it's my time, right? It's your time. It's your time. When you're ready to heal, then you'll be willing to open. Because if I had read the book at the time he had given it to me and I was all in my feelings, I would have never comprehended it. I would have never been intentional about it. It would have been something I like when you're in school, you just read it, but you're not really soaking it in.
Right.
And I loved the first chapter because the first chapter said, if you, the reason why you don't trust others is because you don't trust yourself, whether it be a situation that you put yourself in or something, a promise you made to yourself that you never kept. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had done both. There was I wanted more than ever. If anyone really knows me, I've always wanted to be an inspiring actress. I wanted to be someone who could be on the silver screen and inspire people to be better. Like I'm obsessed with Marvel superheroes because you see them on the screen and you're like, I'm about to go take on the world. I wanted that impact. And I was always looking to have that impact after I left high school. But I allowed so many things and people to persuade me out of that because I thought that they knew what was best for me. And instead, literally, as soon as I was told I could not be an actress anymore from my parents, I was like, well, then I'll just be a mother. That's it. Straight up. I was like, well, plan B, I don't have a plan B, so I'm just going to be a mother. I became a mother and was miserable. Not because I had kids, but because the man I had kids with didn't want to impact. He didn't want anything. He just wanted for him. And that was really hard for me. Now being in a marriage with a man who's like, I'm all about impact. I'm all about being a superhero. It doesn't even matter. I don't need a cape. I'm going to go out and make an impact within myself because of the life he used to live. You know, I'm hoping maybe he can come and talk about that, about the life he lived before and the person he is now.
Yeah, anybody can. That's a good story too.
Yeah, he has a great, like, he is a Saul to Paul story for sure. Like, people will meet him and be like, hear about his past, and they're like, there's no way that's happened in your life. And he's like, I got the pictures to prove it. And they're like, nah, I'm gonna need more than pictures. Like, I'm gonna need the records. And it's crazy, but it's one of those things though that it lit a fire in me when we met, because I was like, oh wow, I don't have to do this by myself. And there are people out here that do want to make that type of impact.
Exactly. Exactly.
But so that was the promise I made to myself. And then what made me not trust myself even more was I got myself in a situation where I thought that I knew everything, where I didn't know anything. We have to forgive ourselves, you guys. We can't just sit here and play victim, because you know, when we do go through those phases where we're by ourselves, it's like you die to yourself, right? You go through the phases of like a person who you've really lost. You go through the denial phase. You go through the sympathy phase, I think is the next one. You go through the angry phase, but thoroughly go through this stuff, you guys. Because when you do, you start to have these revelations, these deep-rooted revelations where like, wow, I was wrong there. Oh, wow. I did need to change there. Oh, wow. There was a lot of red flags that I would just completely were oblivious to. And it sets you up for this next chapter, because whether you like it or not, as soon as you go through the healing process, you have grace to have a new chapter in your life. And it's the most beautiful chapter you'll ever have in your life, you guys, because then you start to draw in healed people. You start to draw in intentional people. You start to draw in impactful people, if that's what your heart desires. But if you stay stagnant, if you stay regretting, or not regretting, if you stay regretting, if you stay, what's it called when you're prideful, if you stay not humble, like, oh gosh, I can't stand it when people can't be humble.
Like being arrogant.
Yes. Like, humble yourself, and not just with others, but with yourself.
With yourself.
Like, it's okay to give yourself grace. It's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay to humble yourself, because some people, they start the healing process and they get right to regret and they stay there, and then they're like, let's get depressed and be in the regret season for like 3 years. And it's like, you don't need that. Like, those 3 years, you could have literally talked yourself out of that and started making amends with either those people's, the situations, all that stuff. So if you have time, I don't remember the author of it, but it's called The Speed of Trust. It's such a great book. From cover to cover, it's such a great book because it really, a lot of people don't trust.
Yeah.
I still have problems trusting people because not because of who they are, but because of who I am. A lot of the problems that we have are internal, you guys. We got to look to ourselves.
Exactly.
We want to blame other people, but you can't blame the person in the mirror. I think Michael Jackson said that best. You know, look in the mirror because you will see a lot of the problems we have. A lot of the problems that we internalize are the problems that we have within ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, and it would be a beautiful thing if we can get to a point where we can trust, because we are so fearful of so many things. We don't trust anything. You know, I a couple of days ago, my husband was like, "Oh, go let the kids play," and I was like, "They're gonna get captured, and someone's gonna take them." And it was just because. And then I had to and then my husband's like, "What is wrong with you?" You know, I mean, we live in like the safest part of this neighborhood, and I was like, "Oh, you right." I was on Instagram watching about sex trafficking, watching about some kid getting taken, and it looked like a Treyu, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to go back. What caused that? And you know what I mean? But just please start trusting again. We need to be a culture of trust. We need to be a culture of community. And really look up what this means. You know, don't just say I just need to trust. Okay, well, look that up. What does the dictionary say trust means? And thoroughly get a rooted idea of what that means, especially like community, the common goal of a group of people. I love that saying about community, because a lot of people are like, community, it just means we're all here together. It's like, no, it's a common goal. We have a common goal.
We need to have a common goal. To actually proceed as a proper community. You know, there has to be set a goal, you know, to achieve as one, you know, and with that, it just creates growth, you know, amongst each other, for oneself. And because, man, there's so many great minds out there. You know, if we don't communicate, we won't learn anything. Honestly, that's the only way we find growth, is we're able to hear other people's stories. We're here to their thoughts, how they think, and then you'll see how much we have in common, what you can get from that person, what will work for you, you know, and then take those pieces. You know, that's what I've always done. You know, that's why I've always loved to talk to just older people, you know, people that have been through so much, and they have gone through that process. I've always loved to just hear their stories and hear where they came from and what they went through and this and that. There was this one lady who would always, I used to work at Costco doing the samples, you know, and she would always come to my sample thing, and because she would just tell me, she was a widow at that point, you know, and lost her husband. She would always just come and just tell me her life and everything, and I would just sit there talking to her and giving her more samples and stuff. And then she would just tell me about everything.
Like, you go buy this, or
you know.
You know they have clearance in
just
here.
Take 3 bags. Here you go. But yeah, she would just go and just talk to me about all the stuff, and I would take things from what she would say and then like apply them to my own life. And even when it came to like my dad had great advice, did, you know, negative things and taught us negative things, taught us great things. You know, but you take those things that fit you and what, you know, what is going to fit your person and what you want. But as long as it's something positive. Right. Because if you're always striving, or if you're trying to take negative, you're just going to go down a negative route, you know, regardless. So, yeah, being able to learn from one another and take whatever you can, which is positive, from one person to this person, and applying it to your own life and building your own, however it works for you. I think that's, you know, you'll be on the right steps to growing. But yeah, man, I don't know, to end it, do you guys want to say anything?
What about you, Jaameah? Want to do a closeout? Outro?
I had just one last thing for what Cesar just said about having negative. Write it out. You know, who do you want to be in the next 5-10 years? Write that out. What does that person look like?
Or the next year.
Write down
or next year.
Exactly.
Right. We have the seconds, the minutes, the hours. You can change at any moment.
Write your vision down.
Exactly. Write it out. What is your, when you wake up or when you finish your life, who do you want to look at? Not physically. Exactly. Not physically, but who do you, when you are on your deathbed, what do you want people to say about you? Do you want them to say, dang, this was Donnie, man,
Every time I needed help moving, he was right there.
He is talking about that. Just
Straight up,
like,
no, he
she
like,
was
oh
way
my
out
goodness.
there.
I was so, I will never forget that because we were about to move and I was so stressed. I was like, oh my gosh, this whole house. And here comes Donnie getting an Uber.
He just hops out of the car. He's like,
You
"I'm
have
here."
no idea. Just all smiles. You know, always showing up. Always the laugh. I can't.
Oh,
Donnie,
man.
the laugh has got me dead every time.
Yeah.
I love that you laugh in every one of these episodes because I start cracking
Oh
up.
man.
But
Damn.
just ready to serve, ready to love on others, ready to teach people about his faith and not push it on others. That was something I've always admired about you. Always willing to grow, always willing to have that big heart for people. That is things that we need to think about. When I die, I want people to say like, man, she, anytime she could, to bring in the faith, to bring in the family, to bring community together, she was there.
Yeah,
she showed up. That's what she put her sweat into, tears into. So we I think all of us as just a community should write out what we want, because as soon as you start writing that out and you start walking that out, guess what? You inspire someone else to do that.
Yes.
Exactly.
Give people permission to be good instead of bad.
Yeah.
We need to start giving people permission. Give people permission to heal. Give people encouragement and patience to heal.
Yeah.
And that's all I will say about that.
Yeah.
Hey, yours.
And then just to kind of add on to that, I mean, if we're able to do that, it will catch on like wildfire. You know,
Yes.
people will just start doing it because they're doing it. You know, or
Right.
this person's healing, so I want to draw to that. You know, you get drawn to that. Everybody wants to be seen, accepted, heard.
Yeah.
You know, we all do, regardless of whatever you may think by yourself. You know, you want to be heard. You know, you want to be seen. You want to be accepted. So we can all do that. You know, we can all be, you know, as one and communicate, have differences, but yet still care for each other. So respect each other should be key. Always respecting a person, no matter of color, race, gender, thought, as long as it's something positive. Because like you said earlier, you know, we all have something in common, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and the biggest thing is wanting to just progress and have a peaceful, loving life.
Yeah.
You know.
It's awesome. Well, shoot, I want to say something else. Like, I appreciate you, Cesar.
Yeah,
one of my
appreciate
close
you,
friends.
man.
Even
Yeah.
Jaameah, really close, man. These people are incredible, you know, because you guys also inspire me, you know, to keep growing, you know, to understand that I still have a vision, you know, no matter how, and you guys always make me feel and let me know to the understanding of like, hey, where you at right now is where you at and where you're supposed to be,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
And I love that because you guys remind me of it's the journey.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the journey.
Yes.
I appreciate it, you know.
The journey is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Is.
Nothing but love, man. Respect.
Yeah.
You know.
Awesome.
Strength, progress,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
honesty, loyalty.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, that's what it all falls down to. You know, regardless of
Yep.
you know what may happen, the years may pass, regardless of any friendship, any kind of relationship out there. Yeah, sometimes you'll have your bad times, you have your, you know, your down times, but as long as you know that there's people out there that want progress for you, that want to see you grow and be strong and proceed, that person will always be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, regardless of how many years pass by.
Yeah.
They'll
Yes.
see you
That's
go
true.
through your thing.
Yep.
But it's because, and if they go through things and we have those silent moments, it's not because it's, I don't want to talk to you, or I don't want this. You're going through your process. You're going through your growth.
Yeah.
At times it'll separate, whatever, but that doesn't mean, I'm never going to talk to that person. Or,
Right.
I don't accept that person no
Yeah.
more. And then it should never be that way. It should always be like, you know, they're going through their thing. They're doing their thing. All good. I hope and I pray that they're growing, and that, and then you'll see, you know, I've seen you grow a lot. I've seen everybody, you know, it's awesome. You know, it's an awesome thing to be a witness to see people grow and progress, you know, and that's how we should all take each other's lives.
Yes.
You know, as being able not to be so selfish and just be like, well, look at that person. Well,
Right.
no, it's like, I want them to grow. I want them to progress, because at the end of the day, it's not a race. It's not a competition out there. It's it's all of us. We're on the same boat.
Yep.
We're doing the same things, like we said before in a couple episodes, but we should strive for progress and respect each other. Main thing, respect. It should be a given no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us again. Special guest, best friend Jaameah here.
Yeah.
And thanks for the thoughtful, insight on,
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
Of course. No, thank you. And again, catch you guys on the next episode. Have a great night, and peace and love to all you guys.
Yeah, one love.